echo in your brain. You know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for, then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn. It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the logos. It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one, yeah, that will show the proof. Become the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their minds. Become an agent of the logos. Become an agent of the logos. We are the agents of the logos.
And we are live. Welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, Logic Day. I haven't really got anything planned. I've had a bit of a busy day, and we've been swapping servers on the old Ark game, so it's all new. Pretty good stuff. So I don't really know what to say. We're going over Flat Earth Math and his rebuttal to his rebuttal of a straw man that he made because we were talking about vertical and horizontal. He came round on Friday. So if you're out there, Math, we're going to be going over your own rebuttal to your rebuttal of the straw man that you made. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. And I think we were just saying it. We've been noticing a distinct lack of logic in all realms at the minute. So I think it's only fair that we point out as much of the simple logical stuff as possible, because it might go past people. So casting a logical eye over flat earth math and his own rebuttal to himself. I'm guessing it's some sort of a battle that he's got going on in his mind to deal with this sort of stuff. Because he's made this problem about us just talking about vertical and horizontal. Now, I've done this a few times with a few different people. Beddy, the proofless blue marble science logician, he was the first one to come round here and ask us for some logic and then take it to... can you remember Bob the science guy? He used to be a big man. He had a 24-hour, 24/7 live stream planned and all sorts, where Globe Central it was going to be. What happened to him? Come back, Bob. Had some good times, chats with Bob. So Beddy took something that I told him not to associate with flat earth. It's just from reality so don't take it over there as though it's a flat earth argument, because it's not. But they did that. And now these guys have got something associated with me that I've been telling them I'm not a flat earther for I don't know how long. But they've associated me with that. And now, whenever I say vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, they think it's got something to do with flat earth. It's not. It's never had anything to do with flat earth. I only ever come from reality. So these guys have put themselves in this position. Flat earth math, in his haste. He made a video, a rush job video. Now, I do believe we've been over it a couple of times. Is it worth going over that one as well? Or is it just going over his rebuttal to his... Has everybody got up to date with flat earth math and his assuming that horizontal's a straight line? I don't think it needs going over, does it? Or I don't know. Anyway, I'll give you a quick brief outline of where we're going to go over with this. I was doing at the beginning of the year, we were going over the basics, and I was going over horizontal and vertical, and the fact that an angle changes 1 degree as you travel 69 miles. So I drew a straight line of 69 miles. And then I put a perpendicular at each end, A and B. And I called that vertical. And that seems to have been the problem. The fact that I labelled the line horizontal to start off with, 69 miles. And then I had the nerve to put a perpendicular at each end of it and call that vertical. That was enough to get Flat Earth Math, who is one of the prominent flat earthers, I think. I don't know. He got upset that horizontal was a straight line. So he made a video. And now we're here. We then pointed out the fact that it seemed a very strange thing to say that assuming horizontal was a straight line is assuming that the Earth cannot be a globe. But that's a conclusion he came to. I mean, it's up to you. You can come to whatever conclusions you want to come to. But it is a fact that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular, and both horizontal and vertical are straight lines. It's a well-known mathematical fact. So there's no need for anybody to get upset about those simple, basic truths. So if you do feel a little bit edgy or anything, you know, you feel a bit sweaty, or your palms get sweaty or whatever, like, just step off. Go and watch some Blue Marble Science or something. Go and watch a spacewalk if you want. That might help you calm down. So what we're going to do is tonight we're going to go over Flat Earth Math and his rebuttal to his own thoughts that he had in his head, that he made a video to say about horizontal and vertical. Now, does anybody want to make any predictions of what we think's going to go on? Because I personally, if I have to make a prediction, I've not watched the video. If I have to make a prediction, I would have to say somehow he has to take back what he said. And he might make some concessions, but in the way that these guys work, he will try sophistry to reword things to hopefully make it so you imply certain things. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for the trickery and the little wordplay changes that he's going to do about this thing. Let me get it sorted for you guys.
Is this going to be the rebuttal to the rebuttal's rebuttal?
Well, you've got to put Strawman in there, right? Because it's an argument that only he made. In fact, he reasoned his own conclusion from horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. And the rebuttal was the rebuttal to that reasoning process that he came to that conclusion. So I don't know.
Self-arguing, like arguing with yourself.
Whilst trying to tell everybody he's actually arguing with me. And it's only because of me that he came to this conclusion in the first place. So here we go. So this is Flat Earth Math. And he's changed the title 6 days ago. Are all vertical lines parallel? Question mark. He's asking a question. And then he's putting my name in brackets.
That's not a serious question, is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, why am I in brackets? And why is he separated? Try thinking. Bev. I don't know. I don't get what this title is, but I mean, hey,
like he's quoting you or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, his initial one was about the horizontal and the perpendicular. So, hey, here we go. This will be good. Flat Earth Math.
Are all verticals parallel? A quick follow-up to my quote-unquote rebuttal to Bev over at Try Thinking. Let me say that at the outset, Bev has stated repeatedly that all verticals are parallel, but he has made no claim about the shape.
What? Again, does he have to do that? Does he have to blatantly lie? Listen to that again.
Thinking. Let me say that at the outset, Bev has stated repeatedly that all verticals are parallel.
Purposely not. I don't know whether you've ever heard anything, but repeatedly stated, I'd say not. Don't forget, Math is the guy that made a straw man at the beginning. Maybe this is one of the conclusions that he came to when I was saying all perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel. And here's the crucial point. Horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. So, all perpendiculars to a horizontal plane. There you go. You do the rest. I've stated that quite a few times. Maybe you heard a reasoning process that you did yourself. Maybe you heard me say that I didn't actually say it. Maybe like flat earth math. Maybe you heard me say something that I didn't say. Maybe that was your reasoning process that did that. Not me. So flat earth math has got confused. He's heard voices in his head. Maybe logos, maybe reasoning. But I didn't say that. I've not repeatedly said that. I've repeatedly not said it on purpose. Has anybody ever heard me say repeatedly what flat earth math has said?
Whether you said or not, the conclusion is solid. So his conclusion is right.
Yeah.
Maybe he met logos for a moment.
Yeah, I'll back you up on it, because every time that has come up in conversation, I've heard you specifically deny saying that every time, and said that you've actually been saying, about parallel. You've been saying that all horizontals are parallel.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as saying all verticals are parallel. So, yeah, I've heard you specifically deny having claimed that, and then correct the statement, turning it to what you've actually said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that it is like Piper says, it's the logos, right? Logos has gripped him, and he's come to a conclusion and imagined it's me that said it, but it's not. It's just a reasoning process that he's gone through. So again, 12 seconds in to the start of another video, and once again he's lied. He's made a false statement right at the offset, and he did that last time. I don't know whether this is a trait of maths for doing this, whether it's a usual thing.
But he has made no claim about the shape of the Earth.
I've made no claim.
Because I rushed my previous video out the door and into the cloud, I made a few mistakes. First, I was confused by flat Earth geography, but let's be honest, flat Earth geography is confusing. And when I made my adjusted diagram, converting the long horizontal into a gently curving level line, I left in the annotations for horizontal, but without straight line segments. So here's a more accurate version showing horizontals in red.
Oh, wow. He's still got perpendicular to both of them, though. Remember that. We did go over that.
Each perpendicular to their local vertical. And lastly, I was trying to be cute with the yellow edits on my final slide, but what ended up on screen wasn't entirely logically correct, although my narration was. I should have included an additional bullet. We observe in the real world with precision instruments that vertical lines diverge.
Oh, wow.
What?
That's, we observe, do we?
Observe, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
With precision instruments.
Yeah. Wow.
We are waiting
yeah.
for some, not explanations, but we need
demonstration.
some footage.
Yeah.
Some solid footage, real footage.
A demonstration of verticals diverging. Because that would definitely disprove the fact that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. Surely they can't be keeping this from us. This is big news. Like, not just little big news. This is huge.
I particularly like the level line.
Yeah.
Yes, level line is no longer horizontal. So horizontals and level are different. They are not the same here now.
But they are
Because-
both perpendicular to
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
vertical.
Look at those cute little boxes at the end of the flags.
Yes, perpendicular to locally vertical.
To a curve, yeah.
Or plumb. Vertical or plumb. Like they've said. That and not that. At the same time. And this
This
is
should
What's also
it's an 18-minute video, this.
This should be a picture under dialetheism. This picture right here.
You know what's funny? The first sentence. On a globe, two lines perpendicular to a level line diverge from each other. So, in reality, two lines perpendicular to a third line are actually parallel. So, I'll just hang that nth meme out there in the air for anyone.
Wait, just look at that. It's like a cow with a pig's head on it.
This is impossible condition because on a globe, two lines cannot be perpendicular to a level.
Well, I don't know. I might be with Saragaki here, right? In reality, two lines perpendicular to an other line will not diverge from each other. So, is that like sort of saying in Narnia? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You got diverging verticals.
Yes, but still he is using a word perpendicular, and this is not correct. And that's in that very statement. You cannot say that the lines are perpendicular where perpendicular to that line are diverging.
But you have to remember that associated with this globe, there is a geometric switch and obviously a logical switch, which means you have to switch your brain, right? So in reality, with thinking about it logically, if anybody ever says on a globe, you have to then associate that with the not that.
Good
Right.
afternoon.
Hey, Rob, anything that you could possibly think of, you've got to then go, not that.
Can I say something about the picture on the YouTubes?
Go on.
Okay, so those little 90-degree squares,
Yeah.
they should not be there.
They shouldn't have been there in the past. And now he's put a straight line there. They could possibly be there, but let's say that's the dishonest part, right? That's the bit that he couldn't put in his original video. And now he's had to add them in afterwards as some sort of, oops, I made a little mistake. But, I mean, that's more than a little mistake. He's showing people now that dialetheism, you have to have both of these things at the same time, which is as ridiculous as, well, as that fucking picture.
Yeah, you see the little red lines that he's got there?
Mm-hmm.
He could put a vertical on each end of those red lines, and they'd be parallel.
They wouldn't be, though. Not in,
No,
not on a globe.
No, not on the globe. No.
And he's
But in
contradicting his second sentence. Horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other. This sentence is in contradiction with first.
Yeah. Well, it just shows there, because if you extend the horizontal at either side, so it intersects the vertical on the other side, then they're not perpendicular. So that's falsifying his own statement. It's a self-refuting statement with that picture.
Yeah.
But this is where
Yeah, we
they
have-
get you, is that on his first statement is on a globe. Then the next bit, horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to it. That's reality. That's geometric. It bears no relevance. It's a non sequitur from the first statement.
Yeah, but what we have here is diverging verticals perpendicular to a curved surface.
Which is,
This
of
is
course,
beyond
impossible.
belief.
It's only a mind curve, though, right?
Yeah, a big one.
Or otherwise, all of the statements he's making, they only make sense if you take the on a globe as some sort of a suggestive command, like a hypnotist. That as soon as you say these words, then the people will hear and see something completely different. I think that's what's going on.
This. No way, bro. You can't see this cow with a pig's head on it and say that's normal. I mean, there's no way. You got to be hypnotized.
Yeah, but he's right, isn't he? Like, on a globe, this has to happen. It's like we started off with my model dictates. And this is definitely one of those things where the model dictates this, yet there's something so fucking obvious that it can't be that.
But even in their model, bro, even in their model, you can't have a perpendicular flagpole on a curved surface. How does that work?
You can't do perpendicular like that. Mathematics doesn't work like that, but yeah. That's why this show's called Be at Peace with Your Globe, right? These guys have got this model. Yeah. Why is he doing
but
this?
Even in the model, it's wrong. Even in the model, you can poke holes at it.
Well, he's pointing this guy has made this video in rebuttal to me saying horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. Me drawing a horizontal line that's 69 miles long and putting a perpendicular at each end, and then saying, well, perpendicular to horizontal is vertical, so I labelled the two lines vertical. That's what's got him upset. That's what's made him make these videos. And
oh wait, Matt, this you've gone a bridge too far here, bro. I mean, come on, you truly can't believe this.
Well, this is his whole video, right? He's got to do the work now to rebut himself. He's put himself in this position, saying this can't be true.
How is he?
Yeah.
How is he gonna get out of this? I don't know. I gotta see this.
It's like it's a Houdini, isn't it? It's a modern day Houdini. Flat Earth math.
With precision instruments, that vertical lines diverge.
Yeah. Let's see this. I want to see the observation. I would like to see where this occurs. Oh, wait, I hope he's not talking about Blue Marble's YouTube video.
Oh, he's gonna do some calculations here.
Some guy's measuring an angle. Maybe. That may be the precision instruments. That may be what he's talking about. Oh, here we go. Here's the... look.
Note on this algebraic procedure to show that 2 equals 1. My point was to show that a series of steps which appear logical may contain a fatal flaw. We'll revisit this concept several times in this video.
Oh, right. So he's gonna tell people why he was doing this now.
2 equals 1. Did you hear that?
Yeah. It's an algebraic formula, right? We've sussed it out. He's got a really bad problem. Really bad problem. He doesn't show the division step.
A minus B.
Mm-hmm.
This is the trick. On both sides. So he is dividing by 0 on both sides. So it means that you will always have 1 according to
Mathematics.
I would say not mathematics. This is convention.
Yeah.
Just convention, illogical convention. This is
As a convention, but never reality. 2 will never equal 1 in reality, ever.
Of course, there is another, for me, a stupid convention that excludes from primal numbers 1. There is no 1 in primal numbers in mathematics.
They should get rid of 0.
This is first primal number, and it is out.
But they keep 0.
How about if you take 1 pile of sand and then another pile of sand and then combine them together? Will that equal 1? It's a trickery, right? But I just thought of it. Or I heard it actually somewhere mentioned before.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
It's numbers. The whole problem is placing numbers around a system and then assuming 0 to be a well, actually, as this shows, 0 is problematic because maths is a logical based system and you cannot logically derive 0. Can't be done. There will always be something, so you can't actually logically have 0. So placing it within the number structure within mathematics obviously opens up trickery. Possible.
First of all, how could A equal B? Number 1.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can do that. This is not illogical.
Mm-hmm.
How can you do that?
Well, he starts off with letters, right? That's the problem. And ends up with numbers. So he's changed letters for numbers.
It doesn't matter. The first thing, A equals B.
Uh-oh.
That can never be.
As letters, they are not equal, of course. But this is implicitly that they are just representation of some numbers. So it may happen that the A is the same number as B.
Yeah,
but that doesn't state that. It doesn't state that in the statement, right? A equals B, right off the premise. It's wrong.
Of course. Yes, I know.
It's wrong from the get-go.
Just for good measure, 0, the first time it actually occurs within pi is at the third decimal.
33rd.
Yep.
Nice.
What a trickery equation there, whatever that is. That's a pile of nonsense, man.
Let's see what
that is a pile of nonsense right there.
Let's see how math describes it.
Bev went over my video on his channel, but
he doesn't.
It doesn't. What?
A series of steps which appear logical may contain a fatal flaw. We'll revisit this concept several times in this video. Bev went over my video on his channel, but he never reacted to the fact that all the surveying and engineering diagrams and definitions...
Look, the surveying engineering diagrams, look at that. It's a biro. These are not surveying and engineering diagrams. That one's in biro.
were of level as a curving surface. What say you, Bev? Okay, I'd like to start...
I say fucking ridiculous. Level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. I've said that a fair few times. So if you want to come and see the proof, anytime.
This video with another puzzle to get people thinking. You're a contestant in a game show where there are 3 closed doors. There are billy goats behind 2 of the doors, while one door hides a brand new car. The game show host asks you to pick one of the 3 doors, and let's say you pick door A. The host, who knows where the car is and wants to build suspense, opens door C to reveal a goat. The host the host asks you, do you want to switch your choice or stay with your original door? So should you switch to door B? Common sense says switching doesn't matter since there are 2 doors left and one of them has the car. In fact, when this puzzle was published in Parade magazine in 1990, almost 1,000 PhDs wrote in to say that switching doesn't matter since it's 50-50. I've diagrammed all 12 possible scenario outcomes, and if you switch, you'll win exactly half the time. Now let's talk about Arthur Alexander Merrill, who...
Is someone's phone going off in the background?
I can't hear that. No.
On the recording,
Oh,
is
I
a
don't
phone
know.
going off in the background?
I can't hear anything.
Did anyone get that? Did anybody understand that?
Can you do
sounded
it
like
again? I missed out.
irrelevant.
Right. Let's go through it step by step, right? There's 3 doors. You pick a door, right? And the other guy opens one of the other doors. Right? So there's only the door that you originally chose and one other door.
those doors. There are billy goats behind 2 of the doors, while
Yeah,
one
forget
door,
about the billy
the host,
goats.
who knows where the car is and
Right,
wants
he
to build
opens one
suspense,
door.
opens door C to reveal a goat.
Right. Now listen to this bit, right? Now I'll try and take you through it step by step.
But this is very simple.
Yeah.
The game rules changed during the game.
Well, I don't think so right now, right? We're going from this point on. And he even says...
The host asks you, do you want to switch your choice or stay with
there's
your
only A and
original
B.
door? So should you switch to door B? Common sense says switching doesn't matter since there are 2 doors left and one of them has the car. In fact, when this puzzle was...
Right, so he says common
Why
sense
does
says...
common sense say that?
Well, common sense says if you've chose one of the doors, there's only one other door that it could be. So
50-50.
50-50, yeah. Right?
Yes.
And then
that's right.
he goes on to say this.
Published in Parade magazine in 1990, almost 1,000 PhDs wrote in to say that switching doesn't matter since it's 50-50.
Right? So 1,000 PhDs sent in the same answer that you guys said, that it doesn't matter, it's 50-50. Yeah?
It does matter, though.
Well,
Why is
well-
the host asking you to switch?
Right? No.
Ah,
You keep on with this trick, right?
I've diagrammed all 12 possible scenario outcomes.
He's dialed all 12, right? Lose, lose, win, win. Win, lose, lose, lose. Win, win, lose, lose. 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you switch, you'll win exactly half the time.
And if you switch, you'll win half the time. 50-50.
that sounds
If-
logical.
and
so
if
far.
you don't
Sure, there's a
switch,
trick.
It's
somewhere.
still 50-50.
yes.
Yeah.
If you don't switch, 50-50.
Yeah.
If you switch, 50-50.
So what was that about? Him just like saying 50-50. You shouldn't switch, it's 50-50. And everyone says it's 50-50. And if you do switch, it is 50-50.
I'm suspicious. There's
What
got
was
to be
the
something
point in
to
him
it.
saying that?
So far, 0.
You
'cause
meant
it's
to
obvious,
think that
right?
there was some sort of a trick there or something, but there wasn't. He just carried on going through it. I think this is a very clever idea that you leave the people watching your video thinking that they've made a mistake or wondering what was going on. Why did he do that? Didn't make any sense.
We'll soon find out. So far, it doesn't make sense.
I think that's it.
That's it?
I think the fractured mind, yeah.
Now
No
let's talk
way.
about Arthur Alexander.
Like, no, now
Oh,
let's
you're
talk about
Kidding
Arthur.
me.
That's what I mean.
That was a waste of time. A goat, a car, obviously 50. I mean, wow.
Just checking that you understood what 50-50 was and just letting you know that 1,000 physicists or PhDs said that it's 50-50, just like you. So as far as it goes, then you're just as the same as a PhD, except you didn't write in to tell them that it's 50-50. Just said it. Watch the rest.
I thought he was going to link it somehow with the A and B thing, but I don't know.
Commander Merrill,
Here we go.
whose used books regularly sell for hundreds of dollars on eBay. He was an engineer and a statistician, and also my grandfather.
Ooh.
Merrill was a statistician and his grandfather. And in the picture he shows there, devoted 33 years to the General Electric Company.
33? I'm sure it's a coincidence.
I'm sure, yeah. Sure he wouldn't be flashing 33s out in his videos, would he? I mean, no.
Next to my father, he was the smartest man I've ever met. And when posed with this problem, he said switching didn't matter. He told me, you can't change probabilities after the fact. So again, should you switch? Common sense says it doesn't matter. 1,000 PhDs agree. When we diagram the situation, 6 wins and 12 possible scenario outcomes, this indicates it doesn't matter. And Arthur A. Merrill, who is a member of Mensa, also said it didn't matter. So what's your decision? You could go with the seemingly logical results, or you could try it in the real world and see what happens. Now let's get back to the diagram that started it all on Bev's Try Thinking Discord livestream.
Started it all. Did we put this one up?
He always has an explanation. If you're listening, Matt, and you probably are, get your ass in here and tell us what's the outcome of that. What's the goat thing? I mean, come on.
If this started it all, thank you very much, Saragaki. Well done. Top notch. This is what we call Saragaki's proof. It's just a mathematical proof of perpendicular with vertical and horizontal wrote on it. Genius. Absolute genius. And also axiom 1, right? You filtered into axiom 1 to just point out that
it's funny, it's the correspondent angles which are the main point of this particular proof. And since vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, which means that those are right angles, and all right angles are equal, then yeah, that's all it is.
That's how the flagpoles, the British flag and the American flag and the line on the bottom, that's how it should be. Not the way you have it, man.
Well, I mean, they're not flagpoles. This is geometric. It's purely geometric, this. Just lines, letters.
But I am pretty sure what started it off in his little series of rebutting himself videos was your whiteboard, so not this.
Yeah, it's got
reality.
Logic Night, Blue Marble Fallacies, vertical and horizontal. No wonder he got triggered about this sort of stuff. Geometric stuff. Yeah, well done. Let's hear what's exactly upset Flat Earth Math about this.
So let's remove the clutter and make it bigger, and move things around so I can make the text size larger. We'll step through this together. Saragaki starts with a few definitions. Perpendicular to the plane of the horizon or to a primary axis, vertical. This is copied straight out of Merriam-Webster's online dictionary. Parallel to, in the plane of, or operating.
Have you ever stated that?
What?
Or is he? Have you ever stated that, or has he actually gone to go and find it in the dictionary and found that it's?
No, I never said that. No,
Yeah.
he's done that by his own accord.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Sherlock. Math. And also, well done, Saragaki, for copying directly from Merriam-Webster. Thanks, Math, for also pointing out, because this is going to be a problem for Merriam-Webster. It's going to have to be changed. You're going to have to get onto it. Sort it out, Merriam-Webster.
Operating in a plane parallel to the horizon or to a baseline, level, horizontal. Also copied verbatim from Merriam-Webster. The proof states that given two right angles, prove the two upright lines are parallel to each other. If two lines are cut by a transversal and the corresponding angles are congruent, the lines are parallel. This is a statement of the converse of the corresponding angles theorem. Next, he identifies the two right angles.
Again. Thank you very much. Yes. Saragaki. Straight from mathematical proofs about angles, straight lines.
So, yeah, where else do you go?
Yeah. So thank you very much, Math. So we're doing quite well. Ka-ching, check, check, check. You're hitting all of these ticks. Thank you very much.
And points out that, by definition, they're congruent to each other. He used an equal sign, but I'm not going to take off any points. He then describes what corresponding angles are, on the same side of the transversal, but with one interior and one exterior. Here's an illustration of corresponding angles.
Or vertical
He then
angles.
describes how the two lines intersect the baseline, forming corresponding angles, which gives us our conclusion that CD is parallel to EF. He already said this in step 1 and could have saved a lot of time. But the unstated implication of this proof and in the diagram is that all verticals are parallel.
Oh, he's done it again.
Good work.
He's
Yes,
done it again.
Yes.
Well
This is
done,
implication.
Saragaki. Absolutely genius. But he seems to have done it to you. The unstated implication, or the enthemy. Genius.
It's nice because you see on the top left, it says prove CD is parallel to EF. That is what is actually being set out to be proven, right? That those two specific lines are parallel to each other, which is the actual conclusion after going through all the steps to actually prove that they are parallel.
Yeah.
So yeah, unstated implications. That's all him.
Yeah. Well done
It is
again.
stated. Why he's saying that this is unstated? I don't know.
It's just because I think he's come to this conclusion. You know, in his head, he sees that mathematical proof and goes, therefore, unstated implication. I quite like that. Unstated implication. That should be there, right at the end of every time you say, therefore, unstated implication. Off you go, do it
But
yourself.
it is there. CD is vertical and EF
Yeah.
is also vertical. So
It's stated there, given these requirements to prove that this is how mathematics works. This is exactly what they do. And these are the steps. He even takes you through them. Every one of the steps to actually end up with the proof that CD is parallel to EF. It's genius.
You can just look at it. You don't need any proofs or anything. Just look at it and say, yep. And look at the other one and say, nope.
Well,
that's it.
It's genius on Saragaki's part, I would say.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah, absolutely.
The thing that's not stated, well, or you added the level horizontal, the parallel to, stated some definitions at the beginning.
This is like Saragaki doing you know?
And that's why you have the given that the ADC and the AFE are right angles, because they're perpendicular. That's why that's given to start off with. That vertical and horizontal are perpendicular.
It's unbelievable you had to write this. It's truly unbelievable.
Oh, it's genius. Well done, Math. He's built himself another straw man. For the unstated implication. Well done.
which agrees with Bev's explicitly stated opinion that all verticals in reality are parallel. Let me give you my version. If I were
Again, falsehood. Horizontals. All horizontals are parallel. Saragaki that does the perpendicular. One step further than me. I stayed at the baseline. That's where I went. This one's Saragaki's. He's made an implication through mine, hasn't he? It's like he's linking them both together now, right? Mentally. He's realised that there's something going on with the horizontal, and now he's trying to get back out of it by messing about with perpendicular. But this has got to be terrible for his mind. Imagine all of the people that have to watch this. They might admire him. They might think he's the super guy within this community, you know, like he might be the blue marble science geometer, the mathematician. He goes by the name of Flat Earth Math. Math being mathematics. Are you pulling on his cape? Flat Earth Math. Yeah, I guess so.
You put a cape on him and now you're going to pull it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's put himself a cape. He has, yeah. Yeah, tugging at his cape, definitely.
There's Math.
Yeah, he's
Come on in, bro.
He's put himself here. Terrible position.
with a geometry teacher. Given the two right angles, prove the two uprights are parallel. We'll begin by making a classic two-column proof structure with...
Is he saying there's something wrong with your proof about perpendicular, or is he...
I didn't hear him say anything like that. You can go back a few seconds.
Are parallel. Let me give you my version if I were the geometry teacher.
Give me his version.
Given the two right angles, prove the two uprights are parallel. We'll begin by making a classic two-column proof structure with statements and reasons. It may seem silly, but all the statements must have a reason, and we often begin by restating the facts that were given, such as the fact that we have two right angles. Next is another seemingly silly statement that all right angles are congruent. We could have been talking about two acute angles, but then it is not true that all acute angles are congruent, so the statement does serve a purpose. And the last statement of a geometric proof always restates the desired goal. In this case, to prove that the two uprights are parallel to each other by reason of the converse of corresponding angles postulate. And here's the important part. Segment DF can be any length, from 1 inch to 100 miles or more, and the two uprights will still be parallel. This is because, in Euclidean geometry, all diagrams are infinitely scalable. Okay, let's see if I've given you enough clues to find out everything that's wrong with this.
All diagrams are infinitely scalable. Is that a statement you've ever heard anybody say before?
No, but that statement is true.
Yeah. I just feel he might be setting something up here.
Geometric proof. But before we do that, let's take a tour.
Did he say...
All diagrams are infinitely scalable. Okay, let's see if I've given you enough clues to find out everything that's wrong with this geometric proof.
Enough clues?
Clues to be wrong.
Things that's wrong.
About what?
I think the clues he's given, if any, must be the one where he started off in his previous diagram with on a globe, etc., etc., etc. I think those must be the clues.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hope he's not referring to that.
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's take a tour of some books from my home library.
What?
Pick a tour.
He's got some books. Oh, he's got a geometry book and a trivium book. Oh, look at that. I've got 3 trivium books, but no big bragging about it. They're just books.
So when he said on Friday that his book was called The Quadrivium, The Liberal Arts of Logic, Grammar and Rhetoric, that wasn't quite accurate, it seems.
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think you can get a quadrivium book, can you?
He's going to show you words in the books too. So
Oh, is he? Oh, look at that. Yeah, he's got stickers. He's got placeholders.
Yeah, but is your book that shiny?
Yeah. No. They're new books, though. Oh, he's kept them well. Polishes them. He might polish them. He might treasure those books.
Let's start by looking at the Trivium, which is the first three books in the liberal arts. So I like the way the author says the Trivium is logic, grammar, and rhetoric, but then the four remaining books in the 7 liberal arts are arithmetic, music, geometry, and astronomy. So I know Bev is very interested in logic and geometry, but I would recommend that you really take a study of geometry, not just not just what you think you remember. And then, of course, study.
What's this? Is this a knitting needle? Is this pointer?
Looks like a fancy pen.
I don't know what's this about. Yeah, we do geometry. We do specifically. We definitely do that.
Astronomy as well, and that will be a worthwhile study. But let's start with a geometry textbook, and I'm just basically going to look into the index. So let's look up.
Is that like a school library? Has he got that from a school library or just a normal library? Look like it. It's his library card.
The
I haven't seen one of those in I don't know how long. Yeah, good catch. That's a library thing.
So let's look up in the H, and we see there is no definition of horizontal. We see horizontal angle of danger. I'll cover that when I do the sextant. Let's take a look at V. We see vertical angles, but we see no definition of vertical lines.
Wait, but if there is vertical angle, it means that it is assumed that someone knows what vertical is. Because it is
like everybody on
orientation.
Earth.
It is orientation. So vertical angle means that this is vertical angle, just not horizontal.
even this triangle has 180 degrees.
So now let's take a look at another textbook, Discovering Geometry. This does not have horizontal.
Oh, but it does have a guy there with a level. Doing a deck. Nice. Investigating.
On vertical in the index. And now we have a thin little book, Analytic Geometry. This is a nice old school book from, I think, the 1950s, 1958. But it does not have horizontal and vertical lines in the index.
It's true.
I'm seeing where we're going here.
I think this is just a rehashing of the old, wanting to pull the card that horizontal and vertical was not defined by Euclid, skipping over the fact that they are defined as being perpendicular to each other.
And they are straight lines. Planes.
Yeah.
Straight lines or planes that we have our understanding of mathematics built upon with the X and Y axis. Add in Z as well if you want. Perpendicular to those. Dead easy, everybody understands it, and I think we can see what's going on here. He's making a straw man about you can't associate horizontal and vertical with the geometric straight lines and perpendicularity. I'm hoping so. Anyway, he's got another 10 minutes to go. He's setting it up nicely.
Now here's plane geometry. Horizontal and vertical are not in the index, but what's interesting is that it does have a definition of vertical lines, or I'm sorry, vertical angles.
Yeah.
But then it actually has a section where it goes into a little bit of
Ooh.
surveying,
Yeah.
and it mentions that
Plane.
the surveyor measures horizontal and vertical angles
There you go.
using a transit, and that's clearly using a different definition for the word horizontal or for the word vertical.
What? No.
Where?
It measures angles on the horizontal plane and the vertical plane. I mean, that's what they do. Basically says it there.
Yes, the instrument is used to measure either horizontal or vertical angles.
Yeah.
Simple.
And then goes through all of the geometry. So, I mean, is he saying that's wrong? Did I go back over that again? It's interesting, that.
Yeah, this is his proof that something is wrong with Sarugaki's proof.
Yeah, except
Uh,
it seems
He's
to
rather
be-
disproving or affirming that Sarugaki's proof is solid
Yeah.
for me.
The straw man fights back, slapping him. Very well done. Here we go.
And it mentions that the surveyor measures horizontal and vertical angles using a transit, and that's clearly using a different definition for the word horizontal or for the word vertical, especially the word vertical angles.
What?
This is his own addition. So
Yeah.
why he's saying that? Where he got it from?
Well done for putting that in the video, though. I mean, a nice bit of honesty there. Within was that a plain geometry book where it talks about the guy surveying, measuring vertical and horizontal angles and relating that to plane geometry, the practical use of it, basically exactly what we've been saying all along. But hey, apparently that's different somehow. How could that possibly be different from vertical and horizontal that we're associating here, that is perpendicular with each other, the horizontal plane and the vertical plane? I mean, what's going on? Flat earth math, straw man to fight a straw man, isn't going well.
He is saying that surveyors are operating under different definitions of horizontal and vertical.
Yeah. Or do you reckon he's saying that the vertical angles is quite clearly different than the vertical angles that the surveyor is talking about within geometry? Do you reckon that's what he thinks?
I would. You can rewind again, but I think he's talking about different definitions of horizontals and verticals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what, yeah. He's trying to say that the vertical angles within geometric terms, similar, angles, he's trying to say that they're different than the vertical angles that the surveyors measure, which I would say that they're the same. If it's a right angle on one side, then it's a right angle on the other side. It's all of these laws of the geometry that's done through Euclid is directly related to these reality terms. But
and it mentions that the surveyor measures horizontal and vertical angles using a transit, and that's clearly using a different definition for the word horizontal or for the word vertical, especially the word vertical.
Yes. So
yeah, so he corrected himself
for the word. So
yeah,
the angles may be the same, but lines are differently defined.
Well, it's one of them's within geometry and plane geometry, and this one is within reality. Think flat earth math might have just met his realizing Euclid moment, possibly. I would imagine that's quite hard to get out of your head, especially he's put it in the video. He could have just not used that. I don't get it. That doesn't seem to help him. I just point out that in common usage, they call that horizontal the azimuthal plane, where they measure like on a compass, north, south, east, and west. That is on the it's a horizontal, but they call it the azimuthal plane, and they measure angles related to that on the for the turn, like on the clock face, putting north as 12 o'clock, and you measure your angle as a turn on the horizontal, the azimuthal plane. See, he didn't even need to do that book. He did that solely for that bit where he said that surveyors use it. I do have a few geometry books, just like math. Maybe you don't want to see my collection of fucking books, do you?
Now we have a
well done math, though.
Tutorial guide for geometry. I don't know, 500 some pages. No definition for horizontal and vertical.
Wow. Is he triggered about horizontal and vertical being perpendicular, or what? Does he not know a definition of horizontal or vertical that he can deal with it for himself? Why do they have to be in geometric books about geometry?
In geometry books, they don't define letters that would be used in the geometry book. That A is A, B is B. They don't define that either. So what? It's just nonsense what he's saying. Well, I would say that in geometry book is not also defined maybe what is up and what is down.
Yeah.
Just nonsense.
There's lots of things that wouldn't be expected to be put in a geometry book within the definitions. I would consider the orientations unimportant to geometry. But the fact that you can use that process to link to reality, i.e. realizing Euclid, that hopefully should be a logical process that you can do for yourself. Maybe a little bit of internal reasoning. Maybe that's where math is at the minute. Going on a little journey.
And now this is one of my favorite books, Geometry by Harold Jacobs. If you want to...
It's one of his favorite books. Another library card.
If you want to actually really read a geometry book that is like genuinely readable, this book is absolutely excellent. He has an interesting chapter or a lesson here called the triangle angle sum theorem revisited, which means the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 unless you're dealing with non-Euclidean geometry. So the geometry of Lobachevsky, it's less than 180, and Riemann, it's more than 180.
I hope he can go into that with his, give us a mathematics teacher's opinion of exactly what he's just said.
So I thought you might find that
might be good.
Interesting.
Yeah. I hope everybody did find that very interesting. Look at all of this. Wow. Has he got a lot of books?
And now this is the book I spent the most time teaching out of when I was teaching geometry. And again, horizontal and vertical are not in the index. But what is horizontal and vertical components of vectors. So
nice. Yeah. Horizontal and vertical, definitely. It looks like a grid formation, that perpendicular. Horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. Yeah, I like it.
So, and
Nice.
again, if you just have the XY, XY plane, and you define up as being the Y-axis, then you could talk about the horizontal and vertical components of these vectors. Now, this book, I'm actually I'm Prentice Hall's Geometry. I'm actually tutoring a student right now out of out of this book. But again, it does not have horizontal and vertical lines in this. But here's the converse of the corresponding angles Oops, I guess you can't see that. Here's the converse of the corresponding angles postulate, which we just talked about. And I thought this was interesting. That whole proof done by Saragaki. Here's it summarized. A very similar diagram. You're given two lines are both perpendicular to the same line. So in a plane, two lines are perpendicular, and prove that these two lines are parallel to each other. And their proof is literally 2 sentences long.
Equally valid as mine, then. Thank you.
Horizontal.
Yeah, if he thinks that one's as equally valid, like it's their proof, he's not took it on as his own, right? You notice that?
Yeah.
He didn't own that proof as his, as though he's gone through that. And this is the proof I use. This is the method I use to gain my proof, Saragaki. No. Their proof is different than your proof. Just shorter.
With the same conclusion, mind you. That's the golden point.
Multiple different ways of coming to the same conclusion. That's mathematics in a nutshell.
No. I would say that his diagrams in this book shows that premises were the same. Sorry. So whole process was the same. Just conclusion was phrased in different words. That's it. But this is the same.
Literally.
He's doing well going through these geometry books, isn't he? These geometry books seem to be backing Saragaki up perfectly.
But remember that he's in process of disproving Saragaki.
I know. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Like this is Houdini. Keep chaining himself up. He gets better and better. He's like putting armor on this fucking straw man that he's got to.
On vertical in the sense of equations of horizontal and vertical lines, but again, they just use x as the horizontal component and y as the vertical component.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you have a problem with that? X and Y, horizontal and vertical, perpendiculars? I don't personally.
Well, I think one of the red lines should be curving, but okay, I'll accept this for now.
It's good that these geometry books seem to be backing you up, Saragaki.
But
I'm loving this.
Yeah.
That's not technically a definition.
It's not a definition. Oh, it's definitional.
Now, next I want to cover a little bit of analytical geometry. So this was my first calculus textbook in college, Mizrahi and Sullivan. And again, the horizontal and vertical are not defined in the index. But what is interesting is that when you take a look at functions and what is a function, it talks about any vertical line. I guess you can't see my finger. Any vertical line that intersects the graph in more than one point, the graph is not that of a function. So this is called the vertical line test in calculus. What else do I have here?
They use X and Y.
But we'll very soon see that you can't define vertical as being the y-axis, because as soon as you go into the third dimension, frequently the vertical axis, or the quote-unquote vertical axis, is now the z-axis.
Yes. Perpendicular. X, Y, perpendicular. Z, perpendicular to X and Y. The three axes. 3 dimensions.
But is he calling that diagram there a graph?
He's got some other lines that he's going to go to, I'm sure, pretty soon.
Well, I don't know. He's like, he seems to be sort of saying there's something wrong with this, but rest assured there is not. That's perpendicular. When you go to 3D, obviously, you either have to make a switch between the X and Y, and what do you do? Now, we've had a word with a few people, but the graphics experts seem to keep the original X and Y as it is within mathematics, and they put a depth of field within the computer screen, right? And they call that the Z, the distance that the X and Y is away from, I don't know, the observer or whatever, from the screen. Whereas in reality, surveyors and things like that, what they do is they drop the X and Y plane to the horizontal plane, and then they build the Z axis here. So there's multiple ways you can do it, but I mean, they're just placeholders. These are the axis of horizontal and vertical. Horizontal being a plane and vertical being perpendicular to it. It's pretty simple.
So here is an octant of a sphere, and then doing some triple integrals for that.
The octant, actually, of a sphere is the portion that they like to cut out and say it's right angles. So you can actually see. Oh, finger in the way. Shift your finger out of the way. There's one 90 degrees, there's another 90 degrees, and there's another 90 degrees, all on these faces on the inside, the cut out bit. It's called an octant because it's just a sphere cut into 8. And this is one of those pieces. That the one that they like to say 90-degree corners. But the 90 degrees are in the axis.
Angle is measured with straight lines.
Yeah, in between the planes that have been cut on the inside, yeah.
The quote-unquote vertical axis is now the z-axis.
Yes.
So here is an octant of a sphere, and then doing some triple integrals for that. Here's another book at Calculus and Analytic Geometry. Again, horizontal and vertical are not in the index as far as defining the lines, but what they do talk about, very similar to the vertical line test, is a vertical asymptote. So you have a line that approaches a line, or a graph approaches an asymptote but never quite reaches there. But I thought this is kind of interesting. They do kind of touch upon
the line reaches the asymptote.
Yes, but he is proving that there is vertical, because he's talking vertical asymptote is the line
that goes
which is
vertical.
is going to vertical line,
but it never touches it. That's what an asymptote is. It's a line that approaches vertical but never actually touches it. It never actually gets there.
Yes, but it proves that vertical exists.
Yeah. Yeah, the line that it never touches on the graph is the vertical.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I am saying.
Which is X and Y on that specific graph.
Yeah. Well, if Y is vertical, that's the vertical asymptote, then X would be the horizontal asymptote, obviously. That's mathematics. Welcome to mathematics.
Never quite reaches there. But I thought this is kind of interesting. They do kind of touch upon non-Euclidean geometry. So here's some stuff about latitude and longitude, and then great circle roots. and then they even go even further with non-Euclidean geometry. So we talk about surfaces, and then can you describe locations on that surfaces? And the answer that on that surface, this is called a saddle, and the answer is yes. You can describe the location using 2 dimensions. And here's another surface with local minimums and local maximums, and clearly that is not a Euclidean surface.
A what? A Euclidean surface?
Non-Euclidean, I think he said. It's a non-Euclidean surface.
I think he said clearly you can tell that's...
Clearly that is not a Euclidean surface.
Not a Euclidean surface.
He started off and then he changed it. Yeah.
That makes no sense, because a term or a boundary is the extremity of anything, and a superficies is a boundary. So, I mean, not a Euclidean surface, superficies of, let's say, a sphere. How are you going to say that's non-Euclidean then all of a sudden? That wouldn't make any sense, because a sphere is Euclidean, surface, aka superficies, is defined, and a term or a boundary being the extremity is also defined in Euclid.
Yeah, a sphere, right, has a surface. A ball has a surface. That's Euclidean. It's not Euclidean. Don't know what he's talking about. That just doesn't make any sense. If you believe that this man can point at a picture in a book and say this is not a Euclidean surface,
It is.
yeah, quite clearly is. Okay, video number 3. See if you can fix that one.
So
oh god, here we go.
I want to finish up with one of my favorite geometry books.
Oh, did you see that?
Yep.
You see that? Let's go over that again. That was what's it? Is reality optional? And other essays.
What? You're kidding me.
A book that he puts in the frame.
Makes it seem like it's an accident, of course.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nice one. Nice one, Matt. Nice to know that's on your mind.
I want to finish up with one of my favorite geometry books by Isidor Dressler. I taught extensively out of this book as well. And this is a very old school...
He's taught extensively out of these books, and he's teaching kids, students at the minute.
Old school textbook in that it's got constructions. So I actually had my students doing constructions with straight edge and compass.
Wow.
But I just wanted to point out a little point. If a plane intersects a sphere, the intersection is a circle. And so they indicate that with a drawing, because some people intended to indicate that I was crazy for saying such a thing.
No, what you were crazy for saying was that a radius is not part of a circle. That's what you were crazy for saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it just says if a plane intersects a circle, right? Not if you just draw a sphere. Yeah, if a plane intersects a sphere. Not if you just draw a line on a sphere. Like, where's the plane that intersects?
Inside, this is not tangent.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think deep down, certain group of people have a big problem with vertical planes also. Even worse problem, actually. Since you start reducing certain lines to a point, obviously, if you do that with one of the perpendiculars, you have to do it with the other one too. You reduce everything to the point. Well, look at all of this.
Yeah, make sure you notice how he's removed that one book about whether or not reality is optional from his stack.
Yes, these are all books from my home bookshelves. My wife and I have an understanding. She can listen to all the true crime podcasts she wants, and I get to have bookshelves in most of the rooms of our house. And as I discovered, none of these math books defined horizontal or vertical the way they were used in Saragaki's proof.
Are they perpendicular or are they not perpendicular? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Is vertical and horizontal perpendicular? Are they? Nobody can solve that one for you. You've got to do it yourself. And he went to go and look in geometry books. That's
I don't understand. I don't understand how his wife, that thing is on the same level. Her watching, listening to podcasts, and him having loads of books in all the rooms.
It's an agreement that they have.
Yeah, which, I mean, right. Math,
she went,
to,
fine, dear, whatever.
You don't have an math, you don't have an agreement. You're not allowed to listen to any podcasts.
Whatever, dear. More books.
Even Euclid himself couldn't have used these words as they hadn't been invented yet. So
what?
They hadn't invented vertical and horizontal. I'm going to have to read that again.
Saragaki's proof. Even Euclid himself couldn't have used these words as they hadn't been invented yet.
That's fantastic.
Vertical and horizontal.
Horizon is Greek word, just a reminder. And perpendicular, this is Latin version, but I am not sure if it is from Greek originally or not.
If it's in, I'd say if it's in the dictionary, in Euclid, perpendicular, it would be also Greek, would it not? Euclid was Greek, wasn't he?
Yes, but word perpendicular, because we have many words, Greek words, which came to us, to many languages, through Latin. So I am not sure if perpendicular is originally Latin or it is derived from Greek, like horizon or sphere, even sphere. Sphere is Greek word, but sphera in Latin is just borrowed from Greek, and I'm not sure if the word perpendicular is originally a Latin word or it is borrowed from Greek. I'm not sure of that.
It says here in my Francis Young from, 1870 something, that perpendicular comes from the Latin noun perpendiculum, a plumb line.
Yes, so that would be from Latin, not from Greek. But horizontal, of course, from horizon, and this is Greek word.
Interesting.
You could be right. It doesn't sound like a Greek word, perpendicular. The lar part sounds Latin.
Yes,
But
that's
whether
my...
you go with perpendicular or not, it's a word used to describe right angles. And that right angles relationship is well founded and axiomatic within geometry. mathematics. So I guess all we're dealing with here is straight lines, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
And whether you can relate horizontal and vertical to the straight lines. Geometry is well sorted. Whether you use the word perpendicular or not. You just have to understand whether horizontal and vertical are straight lines and whether you can relate them to geometry or not. That's what I'd be saying.
I mean, obviously, in my native language, we don't use the word perpendicular. We use a different word, but it's describing the exact same thing.
Yeah, well known. Where we go? Where's he going with this?
So let's look at another online dictionary for the definition of horizontal. Collins seems to indicate that horizontal means basically the same thing as flat and level. And in common usage among average people, that's perfectly fine. But if the discussion is about the shape of the Earth, then we might want to turn to a surveyor's definition. In this case, level, which is a curved surface, but can be considered a plane.
Horizontal. We talking about, or what?
Yep.
When working in a smaller area.
Yeah. Well, I'll do that back.
Just to underline the point is that I specifically have used the word horizontal in my proof.
Yeah.
In usage among average people, that's perfectly fine.
Average people. It's fine for average people. Because we were using it horizontal and vertical. He said within your thing, and he did say you can have it as large as you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe it was the unstated implication that he's thinking about now.
But if the discussion is about the shape of the Earth, then we might want to turn to a surveyor's
unstated implication
definition.
Definitely.
In this case, level, which is a curved surface, but can be considered a plane when working in a smaller area.
The level line, I don't know why he didn't highlight this. It says here, the level line makes right angles to the vertical line or plumb at any point. At any point.
So this is self-refuting citation or quoting.
Yeah, the first line, it says, the line representing the level surface is termed as level line. The level line makes right angles to the vertical line or plumb line at any point. Full stop. Full stop.
It has to be straight, because otherwise this sentence doesn't make any sense.
Right, so then it goes on. It means that any point on level line is equidistant from the center of the Earth. It doesn't mean that at all.
No, that's like a complete non sequitur.
Did you get that?
Non sequitur.
Yeah. Who? Like, I don't know where he's got this from and where it is and who's wrote it.
It may be correct. I mean, not non sequitur, if the center of the Earth is considered to be just inside or below, down, below the surface of the Earth, because it is also many times called center. It means inside Earth, below. It doesn't mean necessarily that this is point. This is center point. Center doesn't mean always that this is center point.
Yeah, it's only big E. It's only little e, so don't worry about it. It's like a meaningless statement that they've thrown in, even with a spelling mistake. It means that any point on level line is equidistant from center of Earth.
It's equidistance.
Yeah, equidistance. Yeah.
It's such a bad grammatical sentence.
Well done. Obviously wrote in India or something. hey guys, we need this. Okay, I'll sort that for you. Let me put it. There you go. There it is.
It's also center with ER at the end, and then in the diagram it's center with RE at the end. So there's two different words as well.
It says, even though it is a curved surface, it is considered as a plane surface for smaller works. Not that, the opposite of that. That, but the opposite of it as well. Well, it can be considered as the opposite of that. Well done, Matt. Oh, I really like these sort of ways.
It's strange that these citations are not from his precious geometry book.
Yes.
So just some internet gibberish, but not in textbooks.
He'll have some more, though. He'll have some
For example,
more
a construction site. Remember when we looked in the textbook for plane geometry, we saw the traditional definition of vertical angles, two pairs of which are formed when two lines intersect. Then later in that same book, it talked a bit about surveying with a transit, and it used vertical angles in an entirely different manner. Two definitions, one term. This is why, if under
the vertical angle would be repeated on the other side, though, just as in geometry. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's literally the same. If you go back to show the diagrams, you can point out how they are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And just to also point out that the vertical angle, the term itself, vertical angle, and the definition of it is of course not the definition for a vertical line itself. Those are of course going to be two different definitions, because one is a line and the other one is an angle.
It is pretty simple to see that this is an angle measuring device and this is an angle and this is an angle. So that would be repeated. If you extended these lines, it would be the same as these angles being equal, which is the statement within geometry to say that this is proved through geometry.
But he's saying that it would be different.
Yeah.
In which manner?
Yeah, they're just literally, they're not different at all.
It's poisoning the well, but very vague statement.
Yeah. I hope he's not a geometry teacher or anything, pretending that he's teaching anyone anything.
Entirely different manner. Two definitions, one term.
It's describing two different things, but it's exactly the same process.
Yes, so he's trying to convince audience that he's talking about two different things, but he's talking about one.
Yeah.
So this is not genius.
Maybe that's the stuff he's been telling his audience to keep a check on as they're going through it.
This is why, if understanding is the goal, it's not helpful to bludgeon someone with dictionary definitions out of context. Upon seeing a pretty girl, Mike says she's so hot, which leads to a medical diagnosis of running a fever. Take some Motrin and drink plenty of liquids.
What? I'm guessing that's just the mind of the Blue Marble scientist and how Flat Earth Math's dealing with it personally. Must be really confusing inside his head at the minute, and I can understand him wanting to make videos. So I hope this gives you a chance to make another video, Math. I really do. We're going to wrap it all up now. Last minute and 20 seconds. Let's see how well he does.
So, can you spot the mistakes? It turns out that the proof itself is perfectly valid. It's the embellishments that cause it to fail. Since horizontal and vertical are not defined in geometry, we can't cite them in our proof or label the diagram with those terms either.
Oh, right. You have to get a little bit of Tipex and just take that off there. It's offensive.
Yep, it's very triggering.
Can't do
talking about the
can't do it. You're not allowed.
horizontal and vertical is perpendicular. And of course, both of these definitions taken directly from the dictionary. You can't have that.
You can't relate the dictionary definitions of horizontal and vertical to a geometric proof of perpendicularity. Is parallel? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's involving both, really, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, because horizontal being parallel to, the plane of the horizon.
Yeah.
So question then, if we cannot use dictionary definitions to use within geometric proof, then how is the dictionary allowed to use geometric words like perpendicular and parallel and plane?
Yeah.
It means that he cannot use curved level because it is in some just one dictionary, one entry, but he cannot use it anymore. So if he is trying to prove curved level with dictionary, he cannot.
I think if you listen to him, he says bombarding people with definitions. And I think he gets offended that we have definitions of horizontal and vertical. And he doesn't have the ones that he wants. Like the very fact that there are definitions within dictionaries of vertical and horizontal that he might find offensive is the very reason he's stating here that he doesn't want you to use them in a geometric sense, even though when they are defined within a dictionary, they will be defined geometrically. He's not got a problem with us. He's got a problem with dictionaries and the definitions of things.
And he has problem with his own textbooks because these textbooks he brought now they are operating within a dictionary meaning. So he was showing these diagrams with verticals and horizontals. They were in agreement with dictionary definitions. So I don't know where is his problem here.
Just a side note.
God.
Yeah, he's gonna have to, right? But yeah, this definition here of horizontal, is it just me, or correct me if I'm wrong, right? Parallel to, in the plane of, or operating in a plane parallel to the horizon.
Yep.
That does imply that horizontals are parallel, does it not? Parallel to or in the plane of. And why not both, aka parallel planes?
Well, that's the proof of horizontality, of parallel horizontals, right? I mean, there is a geometric proof that you can relate all horizontals to the plane of the horizon. And parallel to, that's a geometric term. And a plane is also a geometric term. So the dictionary seems to be using geometric terms to relate horizontal to the horizon geometrically. Why is math saying we can't? We can't.
Special pleading.
Yeah.
Or is it reverse special pleading?
The dictionary seems to be using geometric
horizontal John with YouTube.
Who's that? Who's
John with YouTube.
Oh, all right. Are you coming in, John? You have to turn your loudspeakers off.
I was listening to the show. Yeah, I apologize.
It's always you, John.
I just had a thought that you guys were just talking about that. Would this not be a reasonable way to establish that horizontals and verticals will always be parallel no matter where you are on Earth? I just had this thought that if you build a square, say a 2x2 square frame, attach gyroscopes to all four sides, spin them up, do a set of these at your location, a set of these at a location, say 700 miles away. You bring one of those after those gyros have been spun up as you set them up perfectly horizontal at your location. You travel with one to the other location, and the guy at the other location travels with one to the other location. Now, when you bring these together, as long as they don't stop spinning, you should be able to determine whether all horizontals and verticals are parallel or they're not. Is that not true? Isn't that like a forced align experiment, only a lot cheaper?
Well, you've gone a few steps too far, I think, because once you've actually made a square, you've made a square, so the opposite sides of a square are parallel.
Exactly.
So
I'm just saying, you're in two different locations, say 700 miles apart, because that should give you, according to their determinations, like a 10-degree shift, right? From one place to the other, one location to another, if that's a cumulative effect of the 1 degree every 69 miles. Now, as long as those gyros don't stop spinning, how can that be refuted?
It cannot. You don't need to make this experiment.
I know you don't need to, but I'm just saying as extra, evidence.
I would say that you can do the same thing with a gyroscope, but not just put this gyroscope into your car and go whatever distance you like 100 miles.
Yeah,
in
but
any direction, it would show precession if we are on the
if
globe.
it existed, correct. But I'm saying they claim that gravity has an effect on the gyros, but if you have two,
No.
on the horizontal planes and one on each vertical plane, the vertical plane is not going to be affected by gravity because the gyro is operating in a different position relative to gravity. And I don't believe in gravity at all. I'm just using their words. Just want you to know that.
Gyroscope cannot be affected by gravity.
Correct. I 100% agree.
The only purpose for gyro is that it keeps rigidity in space.
Correct.
Regardless of gravity or whatever forces operating upon it.
And if nobody denies that, I mean, I think that would work as to establish evidence that all horizontals and verticals will be parallel. In my opinion.
Yeah, I would say I always was saying that gyroscope is practically the best argument.
Gyroscope and a level.
Yes, but you can check it in different locations. You can just drive with your gyroscope to different location and check if it is in the same position or if it is not. This is simple. So you can take your measurement with you because sighting, of course, in distance of 69 miles, it's just ridiculous. Nobody can do
my
that.
point of doing it that way is if they're set up on a perfectly level table at each location, and you take one square box with the 4 gyros to the other location and set it on that table, you'll see that there's no difference between the two frames. That was the only reason I put it that way, because it would be visible for everyone to see.
Yes, of course. Yes. That's correct. Rigidity in space. So that's what gyroscope is doing.
Are you taking into account egocentrists?
No, no, because gyroscope is doing what is doing regardless of our will. So it will keep this rigidity if we want or we don't want him to do that.
So is everybody happy with his misplacement of horizontal and vertical within this framework.
So far he didn't disprove surrogacy. So I'm still waiting. It remains 1 minute, but he didn't disprove surrogacy at all.
Well, don't forget, this is a rebuttal to his original video, which was about me drawing basically what Saragaki's got there with horizontal and vertical. I replicated it in the video, and this is the proof of that geometrically. He's took a drawing that he made a conclusion that it cannot be a globe. This is the second video. I hope there's going to be a trilogy of these because it definitely deserves it. And now we've got the fact that he's brought a geometric proof in and just ended up saying you can't label it like that. But why? I think this is something that you can take to. Well, this is why I'm happy to say go in peace with your globe, because I'm not too sure this is that wise, although a third video would be fantastic. Shouldn't he be happy with his globe? Should he really be telling people that you can't go round labelling geometric drawings with vertical and horizontal on it? Even though the X and the Y axis are known to be vertical and horizontal, you can't actually write that because it's offensive to these people. That he makes videos, 3 of them, hopefully.
Yes,
It is very strange, right? How his textbooks does it, and he doesn't have any objections to his own textbooks. But when I do it, or you do it, or anyone in this room does it, then suddenly there's an uproar for some reason.
He even said at the beginning, you can have it at any length, the line.
Yes, that he was talking about scale.
So me saying 69 miles and showing an angle difference at each end, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, because he said you can make them any length you want. I just put 69 miles to the horizontal.
Maybe there is something about that 69-mile distance that triggers something in somebody's mind, and they have to go on some sort of a YouTube video making spree about it.
But 69 miles, right? When anybody said 69 miles to you, it's a straight line, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like a mile's a straight line, and a mile's made up of yards and feet and inches, and they're all straight lines. So the accumulation of more and more of those straight lines goes to make a straight line. You can orientate that straight line horizontally, as all of his geometry books and even the surveying thing said. Very interesting. I think there's going to be a big crescendo here at the end. He's got to go. Last minute. The final minute.
Let's draw some conclusions and bring this video to a close. 1. Horizontal and vertical are not defined in Euclidean geometry. 2. Therefore, horizontal and vertical cannot be used in geometric proofs.
That's a non sequitur.
You got anything,
well disguised.
Yeah, you can't use anything not defined in Euclidean geometry. Was a geometric proof. It's good.
I don't like this statement. Cannot be used because he forbids. This is not sufficient for me, at least.
I think it's unstated implication.
Maybe, yes.
Because, I mean, all Saragaki did, like when Flat Earth Mass opens his videos up with a lie every time, and then he goes into some sort of a trick some mathematical trick at the beginning. Well, all Saragaki did was define horizontal and vertical at the beginning of his thing, and then he went into a geometric proof. And yes, I mean, you can make unstated implication that those lines are horizontal and vertical, and that applies to the geometric proof of horizontal and vertical. I mean, I would say that if horizontal and vertical were perpendicular, you could definitely apply them to those geometric statements. The very fact that all horizontals are parallel would be used within this. So I don't know what he's talking about, actually.
No, it doesn't actually make any sense, because we know what the word perpendicular means, which in turn transfers actual meaning, actual properties to both horizontal and vertical as being either planes or straight lines.
Yeah.
So it doesn't follow that just because those two words are not specifically defined in Euclidean geometry, you know, the fact that they are perpendicular transfers properties to them which are defined in Euclidean geometry and perpendicular as well. So the second statement here on screen right now, it's just a false statement.
Yes, false, non sequitur, and special pleading, because on graph, if you have x and y axis, you can orientate them, and they are perpendicular, of course. You can orientate them into a horizontal and vertical position, and then they are horizontal and vertical lines. Simple. You can do it also on your computer screen, and you can, if you can orientate them perfectly, maybe it is even doable. Then you have real horizontal and real vertical line. Simple.
Yeah, you can predicate horizontal and vertical of something.
Yeah, of course.
So therefore the thing then has a relationship to vertical and horizontal, which is a known relationship that you know through geometric understanding. This is very I mean, I think this is the math trick that he's doing here. Don't be fooled by it. Complete non sequitur, this. Of course you can.
Special pleading, so to learn new fallacy.
Horizontal and vertical being perpendicular is offensive to the blue marble scientists.
3. Dictionary definitions should not be taken out of context.
Yeah, that's hilarious, because the definitions used for vertical and horizontal are specifically in context of what's going on.
What are definitions?
Yes, and this is specifically about orientation. So if they say vertical, it means that it refers to only one orientation, not various of similar orientations. No, vertical is one orientation and horizontal is one specific orientation. It cannot be something similar to horizontal. It has to be exactly horizontal. So this is just silly what he's saying.
And yeah, what is a definition? It's a description of what something is. So how can you take that a context in this context we're talking about? Geometry and proof. When it comes to straight line perpendicular, it's it's hilarious, really.
His thing he's got is we're following on. Oh, I'll beat him to it. He's got informally a dining room table can be described as flat, horizontal, and level. Well, yeah, it could be described as wooden, metal, glass. There's many different things you can describe a table as.
But it is a table.
Yeah. Informally or formally, it doesn't really matter. But then he says, in the world of long distance surveying and engineering. I don't know whether that's long distance surveying engineering or just any old engineering that is coupled with long distance surveying. I think that may be because some of them have engineering roles as things. He says these three terms are distinct. Well, they are distinct anyway. Flat, horizontal, and level are three different words. They're different things to describe different things for different reasons. So not just in the world of long distance surveying and engineering are they distinct. They're just the three words that Flat Earth Math chose to call his dining room tabletop. To describe it. He didn't describe it as metal or glass or wood or polished or anything like that. He chose those three words, and then he chose to tell us that somewhere else, some other guys think that they're different words.
And he has also obviously conveniently left out any definition for any of these words.
Mm-hmm. I would never describe a tabletop as being flat. I seriously, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say, oh, look at that horizontal table. That'd be ridiculous too. Last 40 seconds.
Informally, a dining room tabletop can be described as flat, horizontal, and level. But in the world of long-distance surveying and engineering, these three terms are distinct. Now let's revisit my modification of this diagram.
His modification.
Level is
his modification of his diagram. It's all his. All of it is his. It's not an original diagram. He's gone through the Saragaki's proof, and he's never shown my one from the screen.
a curved surface perpendicular to plumb wherever you are on Earth. Horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular to each other, and we observe in the real world with precision instruments that vertical lines at great distances diverge.
Wow, he observes them. Again, I look forward to seeing your observations of the we. Because me personally, I've never observed that. I would like to become part of the we. Anyone else want to become part of the we?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I want to observe
Yes.
with Flat Earth Math.
Yeah.
Aren't we observing right now that neither of them are vertical nor horizontal?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I seem to be looking at.
Well, what the hell?
I don't know. I'm look forward to video number 3 where Flat Earth Math shows how we can observe with him. Observing verticals diverging with Flat Earth Math. Sounds like a good series. Get on that.
And that obviously means in the real world with precision instruments, as in brackets right there. Not in a diagram, of course.
Yeah, real world. I mean, we know that you can put a camera on the back end of all of these instruments, right? So you can obviously show it. You could have holding a camera in your hand. You could come to Discord. You could put one on the back of your theodolite. However you choose to do it. I would hope it for Buster. Shout out Buster. That we would be able to see plumb lines diverging. See, observe. Vertical lines at great distances diverging. Plumb bobs.
I would recommend this for great distances gyroscope from one pole to another pole and check.
The verticals, though, I mean,
It means that it will show that if lever is changing or not as you are driving with your gyroscope. So this is because he was talking, Flat Earth Math was talking about technical difficulties. So that it is nearly impossible to measure or to see, to observe. But now he's saying that we can observe. So that would be my recommendation, to use gyroscope to get rid of. It's like water level. You don't need to sight. Just go from one location to another location with gyroscope, and you will see if verticals diverge or not.
I don't know about you guys, right? But have you ever had a pizza that looks like that, a little bit higher in the middle? I mean, you've got to imagine that somebody's eating the crust. But because he does go to that bit at the end, right?
Therefore, the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball.
There you go.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So his conclusion after doing this, the two straw man video, where his straw man got more and more aggressive at him, beat him to a pulp. His therefore at the end of it is that the Earth cannot be shaped more like a pizza than a basketball. Like a complete, I'd say non sequitur, just literally meaningless statement at the end.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten very deep into his trivium book about logic yet. I think he needs to open up the first chapter and start reading.
He didn't link properly predications and subjects. Earth is not in premises.
Not at all.
And shapes and pizza is not in premises. And basketball is not in premises, nor not either as subjects or predications. So this is not syllogism. Sorry, Flat Earth Math. This is not syllogism. It cannot prove anything, even if you put this word therefore in the front of the statement, last statement. It seems to be conclusion, but it is not, because it doesn't follow from your previous sentences. So this is not syllogism. It's not logic here.
Yes. It does look to me like he's had a bit of help from Betty, the proofless logician. Because it just doesn't make any sense at all. But again, nice try. But if you're setting up for a third video, you've done beautifully. Because this didn't say anything. You just built a really solid straw man this time.
Reinforced straw man.
Yeah.
Sentence 1, redefining of perpendicular. Sentence 2, perfectly valid. Sentence 3, yeah, we're gonna have to get your video series on the observing.
Mm-hmm.
And the precision instruments.
Yeah.
I was listening to this on YouTube, trying to catch up. So we probably. I was wondering whether it was going to be worth going over this in the first place, Bev. I know you and I talked about that. I think this has been phenomenal, and we need to go over it again, kind of like we did with I Can Science, the spaghetti guy. We need to go over this again.
Well, I think if we sort of pull back and look at spaghetti science at the same time as this, because it's along the same sort of lines and they're similar reasonings that have come around.
I think this one's even better. We
Yeah.
can't do it live. This is where you guys are gonna. For those those of you guys and gals that have been in the server, want to come into the server, we're not going to do this live. But through the entire thing, I was making mental notes about flat Earth math. We need to have a chat.
Yeah. Hopefully you can come in and have a chat. I mean, math, this time you don't need to do it live. But we do need to have a chat about this. And it'd be good to have you here, Math, if you want to come in. It may be a bit tough, but yeah. We are going to go over this sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, we probably want to do a members only kind of thing, and then, have Charles in maybe a little bit later. But it might be a little bit embarrassing for him if we were to do it live with him here. The kinds of stuff that I took mental notes on.
Yeah.
Let's just say, yeah, let's just leave it at that. It's I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
Just the progression of this, the personal details that he brings out, the books that he chooses and how he chooses them, the admission of himself that he was so quick to get this out that he made mistakes, and then we went through it, the original one, and he had to do this one, and it seems he's done the same thing, i.e., very quick to get it out, possibly not thinking certain things through exactly. Saragaki was just saying about the non-logical, seemingly logical statement at the end that's not logical in any way, shape, or form. Yet he has the Trivium books. It's very interesting.
The bit where he... That's the mistake. Labeling the lines. Vertical and horizontal, really?
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. The best he can come up with is that you can't label those lines that are perpendicular to each other.
Why is that? Why is he doing that, do you think?
I haven't got a clue. It doesn't... I've spent years trying to talk to people about these very things, and math is basically saying, there's a massive problem. He has a massive problem. Not only him,
yes,
everyone has a massive problem that he's brought out to tell everybody. Did you know that you could have this drawing here with perpendiculars and know that vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, but it's offensive to write horizontal and vertical?
But you can write horizontal and vertical on something that's not horizontal and vertical. That's okay. In fact, that's quote correct, unquote.
By
Guys,
the way,
this is psychological. Again, I hate to do this. I hate to do this, but Charles, you've done this, man. You've done this. Now, as a second rebuttal to what we've been talking about, Bev went over this yesterday. Let me summarize again. Take your globe and be at peace with it. If you try to bring this stuff here, you can't blame us for going through it with a fine-tooth comb and then making certain suppositions as to why you would claim that what is clearly vertical and horizontal is actually vertical and horizontal. It's unbelievable. But it's where we are. What are we going to do? What can we do? We can't leave it lie. I hope you're ready for a third, fourth, and fifth video. Maybe more if we keep going round and round at this.
But he states in his last picture that horizontals and verticals are perpendicular to each other. So he agrees with that statement. This is his last, let's say, faulty syllogism which is not syllogism. It, of course, it contradicts this curved level, and because it makes a curved level faulty also premise and a circular reasoning with the last statement, but still there is horizontal and vertical are perpendicular to each other. This is part of his strange syllogism. So I don't know what's the problem with him.
Doesn't he only want to say it at one point, though?
He didn't say this in this video.
No, he didn't.
Which, of course, when you're using the word perpendicular, you're talking about two straight lines. So if he were to say that while claiming to be a math teacher, that would be extra bad.
Yeah, even if you wanted to go with his incorrect idea of level as a curved line and then perpendicular to, you're still not talking about at a point. A curved line is still a line. It's not a straight line, and you can't have a perpendicular to a curved line, but nonetheless, you're still not talking about a point. So that won't work either.
We went over this with him on Friday. I don't know if he made this video here before he came here on Friday or
I
not.
think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
I think he came here on Friday because we hadn't paid.
Gone over it.
We hadn't gone over this. So.
Oh, okay. So then he learned on Friday why his redefining of perpendicular was so ridiculous.
Yeah. Which I imagine will prompt a third video, possibly. I don't know.
Well,
but we're gonna go through this more than once.
This is like we did yesterday and today. Be at peace with your globe, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more we can do here. It's obvious. These guys that keep coming to us have a problem. They have a massive problem. Not me. I don't have a problem. But I'm not going to stop stating that vertical and horizontal are perpendicular because some other guys have a massive problem. They should just be at peace with their globe. That's the simple way out.
Yeah.
They have all the answers. They have all the proofs. They're always correct. So be happy with it. Don't be doing this to yourself.
When he said it himself in this video, right? He made the statement, I think more than once, that if we're talking about the shape of the earth, we're not talking about the shape of the earth. We've never been talking about the shape of the earth. We don't give a shit about the shape of the earth. We don't care. Somehow Charles has made the conclusion by what we talk about here that it has something to do and relate to the shape of the earth, but that's him. He believes we've attacked his monad. We haven't. We're simply talking about perpendicular. Saragaki's proof is 100% infallible. In fact, didn't Betty say that? Or am I talking
He
about
used the word unimpeachable. Yeah.
Unimpeachable, yeah. I mean, even Betty says that. He may not say that anymore. He may have modified his position. I don't know.
There was one perfect enthymeme in this one, and it's at the very beginning on his first diagram where he says on a globe.
Yeah.
Jump back to that one. I don't remember word for word what he used.
This is why I say we're gonna have to go over this from a couple different angles. But it may be a members only thing.
Here you go. On a globe, two lines perpendicular to a level line diverge from each other. However, in reality, two lines perpendicular to a line, third line, are parallel to each other. So what does that tell you about his globe? I mean, I didn't necessarily have to ask that question, but it should be very obvious at this point what's going on.
It's pretty obvious the way that he does this as well. He always starts his things with a little bit of a magic flourish or, a trickery or a lie or a blatant dishonesty. Now, whether that's a natural thing that he's developed to shield himself, I don't know. Could be.
I've got a theory on that. We'll talk about it later.
But I would say, I keep saying to Math, thank you for this. This is about as good as it gets in the eyes of what we've been doing.
It's proofs for all sorts of things we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Or shall I say evidence? It may not be full proofs for the things we've been talking about, but it's very strong evidence to some of the, shall we say, psychological, religious, if you will, theories that we've had. Because this is just crazy. It's just crazy.
I've watched that, right? We've just gone over it, and I still can't imagine why he did it. I know the first video was bad, where he said you can't assume horizontal to be a straight line, right?
He got triggered on the first. He got triggered on the first one. He admitted himself. He was on his way home, right?
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah.
He got triggered.
He got triggered at a geometric proof having horizontal and vertical wrote on it. So that he built a straw man because he placed the enthymeme there, right? He placed the conclusion. Therefore, the Earth cannot be a globe. Oh, shit. Best make a video about it. Mm-hmm. But then I think Aporia hits. And when you're there in Aporia, stood on your bridge, anything that you can scramble to give you solace, then that's what you cling to, and that's what he's shown. This one today is I can't see how this solves the problem, other than the fact that he goes, well, you can't write that one. You can't call that vertical and that horizontal. Like, the proof stands, and we've proved that, but you're just not allowed to write vertical and horizontal there. You're not. Everyone else can. Rise over run and all of that sort of stuff within geometry. They're allowed to, just not you. On your YouTube channel, when I'm listening to you driving home from work. That's how fragile this globe is.
Fragile.
Yeah.
That's a great word. That's a great, and not just the globe. Not just the globe.
Well, the globe is a concept, right?
Yeah, it's a construct.
Yeah.
But that's not the only thing that's fragile here. We'll talk about it. Come on into the Discord.
All right. We're gonna end it early. Are we gonna go straight into it?
I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to finish out listening to it on YouTube, and I said I have to go in and tell these guys we need to talk about this.
So, well, it's an 18-minute video. So, do you want to do that now? We'll go, everybody. If you want to come into Discord, you want to listen to this, what we're ever gonna do. I might record it and put it as a members only type thing, but yeah, we're gonna shut off here. I'll just get all of this.
Yeah, let's get Buster singing us out.
Yeah,
and we'll have a little bit of a us time together.
Yeah,
just a little chat.
These are the good times. Yeah, right. Let me get some Buster. So yeah. Thanks for watching tonight, and I have to say it again. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. This is good for everyone involved, for the future conversations to come, obviously, and for all of the other stuff we're going to go into. Thank you. I really like these sort of things. Let me get oh, it's Logos again, isn't it? Yeah. It is tomorrow, hump day, Trivium. Who knows where we'll be? Probably be another busy day. So, again, similar to tonight, not got a clue. We'll go over something. Thank you very much for joining us. Anybody got any final words? No. Very quiet. Okay. Thank you very much. Don't forget, come on into Discord. There will be a members only sort of bit going. So pop on in if you're not a member, and then we'll try and get this one out, hopefully. See you tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
It's the echo in your brain. You know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for. Then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn. It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one, yeah, that will show the proof. Become the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their mind. Become an agent of the Logos. Become an agent of the Logos. We are the agents